All right, here with Coach Loucks, Summer League coach, coaching Sacramento Kings as well, assistant coach. And let's kind of backtrack, Coach. First off, on the California Classic. Things went very well there, and I know part of one of the team's game plans was to get more out of Keegan. Certainly got more out of Keegan. What did you think of his two-game performance?
He was incredible. He did pretty much everything we asked of him. We wanted him to be more aggressive. We wanted to put him in situations where, a lot of times with us, it's more so Fox and Domas. So he took the ball, he ran with it. Everything we challenged him to do, he did at a very high level. So we were super pleased with his performance, both in practice and scrimmages, and obviously you guys got to see him in games. But altogether, he had a very, very productive 10 days with us.
It was so noticeable how many times he got to the line. That wasn't a pattern in his rookie year, and he's still figuring his way out there. If he becomes a guy that gets to the line, how lethal will he be?
Yeah, and to me, getting to the line is a byproduct of being aggressive and getting to the paint. He's been working out a ton with Fox. Dutch Gately's his personal coach, and Dutch has been doing a heck of a job. But he's been coming to a lot of Fox's workouts, almost every one of them the whole summer. And one of the things Fox has been challenging him with is to use his body. Use your 6'8". You're getting stronger. You're becoming, for less of a better term, you're becoming a man.
Mm-hmm.
He's adding muscle, so use it. Don't just be a spot up guy, which you do at an elite level. Keep that, but now start using your body and getting to the paint. And once you get to the paint, it's a proximity game. If you get close to the rim, your free throws will go up. He's done a great job in his workouts, and then I was glad that he applied that to the game without us even asking. He caught it. If you had an open shot, he would shoot it, and if not, he was attacking the rim.
So then let's fast forward. We get you to Vegas. You guys are here now, and you've the challenge certainly without Keegan, but you got other guys more than capable of doing the things you want. And one of them is Keita, who's been with the organization for a while, was doing some things, and he goes down. How challenging for you as a coach of this group is when you lose a guy like Nimi?
Yeah, I mean, that's part of the game. Injuries happen, and you have to adjust, and you got to maybe switch your style up a little bit. Nimi is such a big presence, especially at this level, and he showed it last year in Stockton when he was on the court. His plus minus was through the roof. His defensive numbers were incredible. They were a very good defensive team because he anchored the defense. He's so big. He's got long arms. He's got good timing around the rim, and he was doing a heck of a job for us in the first game. Our defensive performance was really, really good. We won that game against Atlanta, pretty good team. They haven't lost since. And then against the Clippers, before he went down with the injury, we were locking them up too. So, and he was a big part of it. Once you lose that presence, you have to adjust a little bit. So it's been a good challenge for me as a coach to lose your two best players and Keegan and Nimi, but also you lose a big part of your defense. So you got to get a little more creative with your styles, your strategy. And again, this is what Summer League's about, both for the coaching staff and for the players. Number one, to lay a foundation for the year, but number two, to learn and grow.
How much of the guys that, whether they're with you guys in the Kings or Stockton, have they been able to kind of get what you want, that culture of style, of pace, spreading the floor? Seems like you're going for it and implementing it. Jordan Ford's playing so quickly. Are they kind of grabbing that reality?
Yeah, I think, slowly but surely they are. Sometimes it's tough for the rookies. You've been taught a certain way in college, and a lot of that, it's just a different style of game. It's a different pace. It's a different. The decisions happen quicker. If you're not spaced, you're killing you and your teammates. So I think implementing that is pretty easy, but for them to continue to carry it out every possession, that's where it's tough. And again, that's what Summer League's about, laying a foundation for the year so that we go into these off-season workouts and then eventually training camp, and they have some sort of an idea of what we're trying to do on both sides of the ball.
So fans, broadcasters, whoever it might be, we try to envision, we saw Kessler play with regulars last year, regulars in the rotation for the Kings, and now you try to envision a guy like Colby Jones in that group. I can kind of see it. What do you guys see from a guy like Colby Jones that if he's playing in the rotation or minutes with the big squad next year, how do you think he'd look?
Yeah, I think Colby's got a real chance. He has some qualities that I think every coach would want, but especially a coach like Mike Brown would want. He's tough. He tries to make the right play. He's not scared. He's aggressive, and all the other things you can teach, but if you don't have a certain level of toughness and physicality, especially when you get to the playoffs, it's going to be really challenging to survive. So we want as many guys as we can. Our front office is doing a heck of a job giving us those players, guys that are smart, guys that have great habits and want to show up and work and get better, guys that are great teammates, and then guys that are just have a physical toughness and a mental toughness to them. And I think Colby checks a lot of those boxes.
How about for you individually, personally? How much fun have you had being the head coach for this group?
Yeah, it's been a blast. I'm learning so much. It's going to make me a far better assistant coach going into next year. Sitting in the seat, managing the staff. Problems come up, you got to deal with them. You have to have the answer all the time, and if you don't, you have to be confident in your staff to make the right answer. It's been such a great learning experience for me, and really I'm truly enjoying it, and I'm so glad that Mike gave me this opportunity.
Sometimes you don't know until you're in that spot. What's one thing that kind of like, oh wow, here I am, I've got to make this decision? What, has there been a moment like that?
It's all the non-basketball things. To me, the basketball things, if you know what you're doing, comes pretty easily. And obviously a far bigger role, much more planning in terms of, and Coach Brown's practices, I may have a drill or two, I may have a scout to run. But in practice as a head coach, you have every drill, you have every scout, you're over everything. That was the easy part for me. The challenging part is all the extras, all the medical performance meetings, all the roster issues, talking with the front office about rotations and agents and managing egos, and everyone wants to play because they're all fighting for jobs. And it's not even that it's challenging. It's just the amount of time you have to spend on everything. You don't realize how much goes into the behind the scenes of things Coach Brown does that we never see. But he has such a good way about him that I've been fortunate to watch him and how he deals with people and try to emulate that as best I can.
I think I'd be calling challenges every time. Timeout, challenge every officiating call. How have you not done that?
It's fun. It's funny. I'm more or less in charge. Me and Robbie Lemons behind the bench kind of have the final say on challenges throughout the year. And Mike would get on us all the time. You got to make a decision right now. And we challenged more than any team has ever challenged, and we won more than any team has ever challenged. And Mike was like, we weren't good. Our challenge has got to be better, which I appreciate because it just pushes you. Mm-hmm. And now that I'm the head coach, I'm doing the same thing to the bench. I'm like, just make a decision. Yeah. And a lot of times you have to respect, even if you don't agree with it, because it is their job. You have to respect whoever is making that final call. And it's a lot more challenging in Summer League because you don't have a replay. Right. So you're going on basically time situation. You have a couple of rules in place of when to challenge, when not to, but then it's just a gut call. And Monty McNair is a huge challenge guy. Like, he does not want you to walk away with a challenge. And so far, like, win or lose, if I win a challenge, that's the first thing he'll say, like, great challenge. And I'm like, Monty, we lost the game. He's like, yeah, you'll win the game, but great challenge.
So just as the new addition next year with the 2 challenges, are you a fan of that?
I'm a big fan. We talked about it all the time this year. It was unfortunate that you would win a challenge and it could be a pivotal moment in a game, and then you're just out of it. You're out. So I'm a big fan of getting it back. There's much more to the challenge rule than people realize in terms of situation, time, score, your timeout situation, when the media timeout's coming, all of that factors into the challenge process. But I'm a huge fan of the NBA changing that rule.
I'm curious too, just the mechanics of it. We all see when it happens in arena, there's like, oh, come on, like just naked eye. But then there's the quick look. You got that review on the computer. That has to be so fast. How do you guys even pull that off?
Yeah, it's true. It's really a team effort. That basically I have the final say. We have a couple coaches looking at the video, and then we have an analytics guy that's basically giving me more or less a thumbs up or a thumbs down based on like percentages in terms of, they track all this stuff, what calls get overturned the most, between block charges, goaltending, common fouls, if it will give us points back or if we gain points. All of that goes into it. So basically everyone has a job, and within like 5 to 7 seconds, you got to make a decision. And obviously a lot of common sense goes into it. If you can't see it on the small board, you look up on the big board. And if you're at home, the replay guys do a pretty good job getting that up quick. But it's definitely a bang bang situation, and then Mike's just grilling you like, "What are we doing? What are we doing?" But it's good. It's good. It's a good responsibility to have.
Got to ask you about De'Aaron. You work with him personally, and obviously a fantastic year for him. And coach has even put it out there like he can be elite. And I mean, he's already really close to there if he's not. What else do you want from him? What else can De'Aaron do to even go even more?
Yeah, I agree with Coach. I think last year was a step in the right direction. Excuse me. I think so many people understand how how talented De'Aaron is individually. The few things we're looking for him to continue that progress, and I do. I think I'll say it to every media guy. I think he can be an MVP, and that's not. I'm not saying that lightly. I've been around multiple MVPs. I know what it looks like. He has those characteristics. Now he has to put in the work, the constant habits, the competitiveness has got to go through the roof, and he shows it in spurts. When you got to win a game, he's going to win the game. Now it's about winning the day, winning the practice, winning the workout. And when you start stacking those things together as a young kid, the sky's the limit for him. I think defensively, he can take a huge step. As an ISO defender, he was very, very, very good. As a pick and roll defender, he was very poor. And part of that is a team thing. Like pick and roll defense is a team thing. And part of that is him using his athleticism, his quickness, his wingspan to get into the ball and pressure the ball and play with physicality consistently. That's the first thing. The second thing is what I basically mentioned in terms of being a leader and being the guy. You know, he has to take a next step, both he and Sabonis, as being our guys. And that doesn't mean you have to be a rah-rah. That doesn't mean you have to cuss guys out every day. It means every day you show up consistently, and everyone in the organization can feel you, from coaches, from staff, to players, to performance. Everything you do has purpose. And I think he's taken a huge step in that, and now he's got to continue to climb. And if he does that, not only will he have MVP caliber individual success, but we as a team, the more he and Domas put it together on an individual level, we as a team will win. And that's the ultimate goal.
I mean, you guys are putting a lot on them, but I also think they can do it.
Yeah, I mean, and this is where Coach Brown is incredible. Not only believing in his guys, but calling them out in front of the team. Mm-hmm. Like I'm not expecting that. I'm demanding this from you. And if you don't want it, you can't be that guy. Mm-hmm. And we know both of those guys want it. Coach does an incredible, like, reminding them, like, you are the foundation to our organization. If you don't do it, we can't do it. And I think the more they realize that it's not just at 7 p.m., against the Clippers, it's every single day that weight is going to be on your shoulders. And either you got it or you don't. To us, we all believe that they have it, and it's going to make us a really, really, really special organization.
All right, last thing for you. I just know the way coaches are, athletes are. You guys are the best of the best and so competitive. There was so much to be happy about last season, so much to build upon, but there's probably still something that's eating at you from the play. Like, when you think about that great series, what do you go, man, I wish this? Or just, it's always what motivates people. What do you think about when you think about that series?
Yeah, you said it. We were happy about the year, again, because it was a step in the right direction. We were not satisfied with our goal, and Coach Brown will tell you guys all the time, our goal is to win an NBA championship. And if that's not your goal in the NBA, you're probably in the wrong business. And again, the work you have to put in every day to get to that, it's a lot, and it's constant and it's continuous. The sour taste, I think, Golden State and Coach Brown and I were both there, and Barbosa was there too. We have a lot of staff members that were in Golden State. Those guys have championship habits, and that's what we're trying to get to. And we fought, we competed. It was a heck of a series. I mean, I've been a part of a lot of good playoff series. That was one of the better ones, especially for the first round. But the reality is, it was still a first round exit. It doesn't matter how close it was. Doesn't matter how many games it went. We lost in the first round, and I don't think anyone's satisfied. If anything, I think it lit a fire under, most importantly, our players, in terms of their work this offseason, in terms of tasting what it feels like to play in the playoffs. And then from a coaching staff perspective, Mike's whole thing is we played a level of physicality in that series that we hadn't played with all year. And part of that probably fed into why we missed shots, because we were exerting so much energy and we were guarding. It gave us hope defensively. Like, we were guarding at a level that I think surprised some of our players. Like, oh, we can actually do this. Like, we can stop one of the best offenses ever, you know. And I think when you feel that, like, what it takes to win a game in the playoffs, now you start saying, going into next season, that's got to be from day one. And now the offense will be as like, our offense was ridiculous in the regular season. We took a huge drop, and we still generated, I think, I don't know if it was the most, but a ton of open shots in the playoffs. We just didn't make them. And you call it fatigue, you can call it the bright lights, you can call it whatever you want. But there has to be a happy medium between playing with the level of competitiveness, physicality, urgency on defense, but then playing our style offensively with pace and space and great ball movement and body movement and cutting. And then you get an open shot, you got to knock it down. So I think that's what we're all working for this offseason and going into next season.
I know it's got you guys pushing and motivated. So best of luck then. Certainly best of luck in the rest of the Summer League. And thanks for joining us.
Thanks so much. Appreciate it.